Let's bring you the latest now on the shutdown of the pipeline that supplies almost half of the fuel to the U.S. East Coast. It's the worst cyber attack yet on a critical piece of American infrastructure. The Biden administration is loosening rules to allow more gas, diesel, and jet fuel to be trucked on highways to try to head off shortages. Again, bringing you up to date, Nick Harper is in Washington this morning with the latest in terms of who is behind this attack. Nick.
Well, Heather, the thinking is that it's a group called DarkSide, quite a new cyber attack group, a gang made up of quite experienced hackers. The government's still trying to work out exactly if they are the group behind it, but it is thought that they are the ones that carried out this attack, which took place on Friday, and 4 days on, this pipeline still remains offline. It's causing big problems because this is a huge pipeline that carries about 45% of all the fuel that goes to the east coast of America. So diesel, gasoline, also jet fuel as well. And it was a ransomware attack. We know that the hackers essentially grabbed sensitive information from the company called Colonial and then threatened to release it unless the company paid a ransom. And of course, all of this is raising huge questions about the vulnerability of some very critical infrastructure in the US, the type of infrastructure that allows the country to keep running. Now, the Commerce Secretary, Gina Raimondo, was speaking about this to CBS, and she said quite simply that companies should get ready because these type of attacks are likely to become more common. Let's listen.
Unfortunately, these sorts of attacks are becoming more frequent. They're here to stay, and we have to work in partnership with business to secure networks to defend ourselves against these attacks. As it relates to Colonial, it's an all-hands-on-deck effort right now.
So there a little excerpt from the Sunday shows yesterday. Nick, what could the fallout be from this shutdown?
Well, certainly something of a knock-on effect is expected. The big problem currently at the moment is that no one knows when the pipeline will be back online. Colonial and the government, they're working together to try and get it sorted, but they're not saying exactly when this could all happen. And therefore, the knock-on is a shortage of fuel for consumers right across the United States, but particularly on the East Coast. It means that if you go to fill up your car at the pumps, you're likely to pay more for diesel or gasoline, anywhere between 2 to 3% higher in prices, and those prices could take effect as early as today. And the longer the shortage goes on, the higher those prices will go. And that's a big problem because we're beginning to head into that busy summer driving season when a lot of US motorists will hit the roads, they'll head off on their road trips. If prices are increasing, if we're seeing that increased demand and we're still seeing a shortage of fuel, it could cause problems for those drivers. Also problems for airports. The knock-on effect for them is that there will be a shortage of jet fuel. Normally they have reserve supplies that last a few days, but a few days from now, those are likely to run out. So we could see a shortage at the airports. And like I said, the longer that this goes on, the higher the prices will rise and more of a shortage we will see for motorists, but also at airports as well. So certainly a big concern, Heather, while this pipeline remains offline.
Really appreciate that, Nick. Thank you, freelance reporter Nick Harper. He's in Washington. Scott Peterson listening into all of that. Obviously, as Nick was making clear, the longer this is continuing, Scott, the higher the price goes. But some of the predictions I've been hearing from experts already just today, fuel prices could go up 2 to 3%. What are you seeing so far?
Yeah, I'm hearing that for the pop-up this morning. We're seeing foreign futures, European futures up about 4% for the price of gas. And the thing is, like, you take it's like a supply chain thing. You take a gas out of the equation in the eastern seaboard, it makes the global prices going up. We're seeing wholesale prices in the U.S. at $2.16. That's up 3 cents overnight as well. And in Canada, we're averaging about $1.30 per liter. And like it or not, we buy a lot of our gasoline from the U.S. market. So this could affect us, as Nick was mentioning. We're going into the busy commuting system, and also potentially after post-COVID, a lot of people begin commuting again. If you take a look at the actual price of oil, that is up as well, $65.14. Even though there's lots of it still in the Gulf, it's just the potential of they can't ship it up to the eastern seaboard. as a refined product. If you take a look at the Canadian dollar as well, as you mentioned, multi-year highs. If you take a look at the rest of the markets, they seem to be shrugging this off to some degree. The TSX and the Dow Jones both closing at record highs on Friday. That is a potential another record that we're seeing for the Dow Jones at 121 points as earnings, very strong earnings, coming for a lot of big corporate American.
Thank you, Scott.